Well, hey guys, welcome back to Let's Create with Alex Blake. I'm your host, Alex Blake, and today we have my friend Megan on the pod. Say hey, Megan.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
If you guys are OG listeners, you know this is Megan's second trip onto the podcast. So yeah. The first one, what did we talk about, Megan?
Finding your style?
Finding your style. Yeah. I remember a lot of people giving me feedback that they really liked that episode. But that was like really early on into me having the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're glad that she's back, guys. If you guys don't know Megan, A, she's one of my bestest friends. B, she's super talented and she does everything that she does is done like so well. I don't know how she does so much, but she's amazing at concerts. She's amazing at couples. She's amazing at portraits and senior portraits. Like literally she does it all. So we'll get into that a little bit later because we're doing today a little Q&A kind of thing. And somebody asked about niches. So I was like, oh, I feel like this is the perfect question for Megan specifically to chat about. So I'm excited about that. Okay. All that to say, Megan, let's talk about how we met because I feel like that is something no one asked it, but I feel like that's something that's so random. Like, oh yeah, you're one of my closest friends. I live in Charleston. You live in Utah, like so far. So yeah, why don't you start? You want to chat about how we met?
Okay. Well, essentially, we met at a content weekend in, was it 2021 or 2?
Two. But you went in 2021 and then we met.
I went in 2021 and then also in 2022. That's where I met Alex and Preston. And I actually was not supposed to go to this content weekend because I had been the year before and then they weren't sure if people like could go 2 times. But then like a couple weeks before, they were like, we had a spot open up. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes, of course. It was my only weekend open that summer. And so I was like, okay, well, I have to go. It's meant to be. And it was because then I wouldn't have met you guys. And then I remember talking to you guys. Well, one, I was really scared of you guys. And then we were talking there and we became close really fast because we were like writing together and stuff. But is that when we were like, what if we started a podcast?
Yeah, literally. I think it was like the week after. I remember we had a little group chat and I was like, so guys, what if?
And I was like, haha, yeah, that'd be so fun. And then Alex was like, wait, no, I'm for real.
Like, can we actually please?
Yeah, we did do that podcast a couple years ago. It was a short run, but it was a good run.
It was. Yeah. We had a podcast, me, Megan, and then Preston, our friend. Preston Luke is his name. He loves to say that. He's like, Preston is my name. Wait, does he say Preston Luke or Preston when he does it?
Preston. I am Preston. Preston Luke is my name. Something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, we call each other the trio, and we did start the podcast. I think we only had it for like 7 months, maybe 6 or 7 months. And then we were like, okay, this is like really hard with us all being in 3 different time zones and scheduling everything. And this was before AI. Okay. So like, it was hard. You know, like ChatGPT made everything easier, but it was hard at the time. So we called it quits, but we didn't call our friendship quits on it. And that was poetic. Yeah. No, but like, it is crazy to think about how much like has come from our friendship just over the last few years. I mean, we live in different states. I see you multiple times a year. I was counting, Megan. We're going to see each other 7 times in 2025.
You know, that's like, maybe like
that's
every
insane.
other. I know.
Yeah. I know. So crazy. Like in person.
Like the year after we met, we didn't see each other until, well, maybe even like 2 years, was it? Like we would talk all the time and stuff, but we didn't see each other until photo camp.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like a year and a half, I guess, that we would only FaceTime and then didn't see each other in person again until the first photo camp. You're right, which is just so insane. And I think it's so cool how content weekends, like not only did we meet at a content weekend, but also they've kind of like led our friendship in so many ways, because now we get to like host them together and stuff like that too for each other's. And yeah, speaking of photo camp, should we share the news?
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please. Guys, Maegan is going to be speaking at the next photo camp.
I am making a video.
I'm so excited. So the podcast has heard before, if they've listened to a couple episodes before this, I have been sharing the dates on the podcast. They're the first to know. It's September 4th through the 6th. 2025. And this is the first time anyone's hearing anything about speakers. You're the first one announced, Maegan. So I know it is going to be amazing. So they don't know any of the secrets of like the changes of photo camp yet, but that is coming. It's coming up, guys. I am so excited. And it's going to be so like different, but like good different, I think. So I'm pumped. But anyway, I think it's so cool how like content weekends have done that, where we get to just like focus in on like leading the way for others to have friendships like ours too. So anyway, all that to say, we put on Instagram a little question box, a little Q&A box, if you will, and said, if you have any questions for us to get just like yap about, let us know the questions and we'll talk. And I feel like this is just kind of like everyone joining us for a FaceTime call, you know, like FaceTime call sounded really official. A FaceTime hangout?
A FaceTime?
Just a FaceTime. It's fine. So funny. But it is like crazy because Maegan and I literally talk every day. Like it's weird if there's a day that goes by when we don't talk. That's kind of crazy to think about. Okay.
All because we met at a content weekend.
Me tearing up. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. You ready? I'll walk us through like the questions that people like asked on Instagram. Okay. I kind of sectioned it out a little bit. So for the first one, it's all about like editing and gear. So the first one, which I feel like is perfect for you to answer, like so perfect, is how did you find your editing style? And the reason why I think this is perfect for you to answer specifically is A, you're actually going to be chatting about editing at photo camp. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. But also B, I think your style is so signature. People love your style. You have presets out. I do too. But your presets and my presets are so different, yet we love each other's work, you know? So talk about how you, Maegan Grendell, found your editing style.
I feel like the first thing to note is that it took a long time.
Yeah.
If you scroll back on my Instagram, it is like slowly evolving, and like my editing style at the beginning was questionable.
Same.
But I just feel like that's how it goes. You have to figure out what you don't like. And sometimes you don't even realize that you don't like it until you're looking back. Like, I could look back in a year from now and be like, ooh, I don't like that.
That was rough.
Yeah. But I just think that I drew inspiration from what I knew I liked, like bits and pieces of other photographers' work, and like I knew I wanted to edit more warm. I liked that. And then like bright, but not super bright and not too saturated. I just like took pieces of what I knew I liked and didn't like, and I kind of put that into a style, messed around on Lightroom and figured out like what everything did and like how to just incorporate that into my photos. And then I just think over time I learned how to make that all more cohesive. And like obviously I just got better at Lightroom and how to use all the things because there's so many aspects.
I feel like that's like something that a lot of people don't talk about enough, is like really learning Lightroom when it comes to like finding your editing style. Because I also feel that way too, where like there's so many things that like I realized that I liked that thing. I just didn't know how I could achieve that look myself. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know Lightroom enough.
Yeah. There's a lot of things. And I think it also helped that I learned how to edit on Lightroom Classic instead of like the mobile or the just normal one.
The CC one. Isn't that what it's called? Lightroom CC? And then Lightroom Classic.
I think. The one that's more complicated is what I learned on.
Yes, so agreed. Me too.
From the beginning, I was like, okay, what is tone curves and hue and tint and all the things? And like, yeah. So just messing around with that. And I think presets do help for sure. It gives you a starting point. I don't think I had any presets like from day one, but then I did get some later on and then just tweaked them to my liking until I was confident enough to make my own and know what I wanted. So yeah, that can be a good starting point, a good little foundation if you really just have nowhere to start. Maybe, I mean, a lot of photographers sell presets, so if there's someone's editing style you like, just like see if they have them, or figure out what you do like about that. Don't copy. We don't copy,
right?
But you can take inspiration.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I love that. I love it. Yes. But I really think like for people to hear that, like, sometimes it takes a long time and it's okay. Give yourself grace. I also, if you're listening to this episode and you haven't listened to the episode before this, I actually just talked about finding your style too. So that might be a helpful one for you to listen to. But the second one, this question, I don't know that I know this for you, but what hard drives do we use? And then do we have any tips for Lightroom? So that goes kind of hand in hand with our last question. What hard drive do you use?
Hard drive is a Samsung T7 Shield.
Ooh, is that gray?
I have it in a bunch of different colors.
Oh. I'm like trying to think of what that looks like. Have you ever had any issues with it?
I have a fresh one sitting in my...
Ooh, I actually have seen you use that.
I have never had an issue with it, and that is why I keep buying it, because every single other hard drive I've had issues with.
Really? Wait, have you ever used... So I use the SanDisk one. I'll show you.
Okay, yes, I have used that. I do like that one too.
Of course, I have it in blue.
That's like so you. Those are colors. I have used that. I think I used that before I started using this. And that one is definitely my second favorite. I had the least amount of issues with it. I think I just had a harder time like recognizing on my laptop. So that could have just been the board or something. But I don't know.
But that's the one that you found for you. So you use the Samsung and then I use the SanDisk. I will say too, my blue one that I got right here is a 4 terabyte. And I found that was like way too much on one hard drive. Like I just don't need that much. I'd rather break it up. So then I started getting the 2 terabyte. And I also realized while the blue is really cute and I really like it, if I get the black, it's cheaper. So I was like, okay, I'll get the black. I'll stop being so bougie. It's fine. But I also, this kind of comes up later because we talk about organization, but while I have it out, I also have a label maker and I like specifically say what is on each hard drive. And that's been really helpful for me too.
I do need one of those because they all look the same. They do.
Yeah, I need to put one on my Amazon storefront. I'll do that. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're looking for a label maker, because I found like the cutest one. I have it right here. Hold on. This is just show and tell now. If you're watching on YouTube, you're getting to see all of our gadgets. But it's so cute. It looks like a little egg and it connects to your phone. And so you can just like say what you need it to say and then it pops out right here and you press the little cut button and then you can label make for things. It's so fun.
Just label everything.
I know, it's very my personality. It was like Christmas for me when I got it, and it was like $15. But for me, I'm like, yay, labels! I love it. Okay, what about tips for Lightroom? That was kind of in the same question. Our hard drives, and then any tips for Lightroom?
Kind of just what we said, like mess around with everything. I think using masks are crucial. And I don't know, I've never talked to anyone about it. I'm sure it's a common thing, but if you're not using them, you can like mask the sky, the background, the person.
Especially now, AI masks too. Like when we first started, there wasn't that. You had to like brush everything, Now it's really great because you can literally select things. And if you select people, you can select like just their body skin and to soften their body skin. Like, yes, like so nice. So definitely like brushes. I was also going to say the HSL slider, because sometimes when you're starting, you think you can only do colors through like saturation and through like tint and temperature. But if you go all the way down to HSL sliders, you can select like basically what you want just oranges to look like, or just blues. A lot of the time people ask me, how do you get your blues so poppy? And I'm like, the HSL. Or they'll buy my presets and be like, wait, the blues are a little bit too high for this part. What do I do? I'm like, pull down your HSL, for your blue. So I feel like that's always like a helpful tip too. But do you have anything else?
Just like not pick apart your picture, but like edit your picture piece by piece. Like go through like highlights, shadows, like literally go through everything and just figure out what everything does.
I do have a good tip, and I was reminded of this when you said piece by piece. Do not crop first before you do AI generative stuff.
Yeah, because it still recognizes that it.
Yes. So cropping used to be like my first thing that I did. And then when Lightroom started doing the AI stuff for when I shoot downtown, like downtown Charleston has so many like, I don't know, cracks in the sidewalk or like paint where they need to like do construction and stuff. So I use a lot of generative fill when I'm downtown to like get it out of there. You know what I mean? I'm like, remove, like over and over again. But it was so hard because like if you crop it, like Maegan said, it's still pulling the information from the rest of the photo. So then something really weird will pop up and you're like, what the heck is this? But it's because you just need to do the generative fill and then crop it after. But that is a tip right there, because that'll save you a lot of time and confusion.
That's true.
Okay. I'm curious to hear what you say for this one, but best beginner camera recs.
I'm gonna say the best is what I started on because that's what I know. But
I think we started on the same thing.
A Canon Rebel.
Yes.
Yes, I think I had a Canon Rebel T7 or something.
Oh, I had a T5.
One of those. But honestly, any of the Rebels I would recommend because they're just good to get all the basics down and stuff. And
and they're super cost effective. I think I would suggest if you do a Rebel, I would also, so like if you're a beginner listening to this, I'm just going to explain it in kind of like beginner terms for a second. But like there's a lens that comes with the camera, and that lens is not very good.
No.
If you need to start with it, you can. But I suggest tossing it. And then you can get, if you're getting a Rebel, get a Canon 50. They call it the Nifty 50. I think it's a 1.8, right? 1.8?
And it's cheap.
And it's like $125 if I remember right. Something like that, or $150 maybe. But like so cheap. Stick that on your camera. It'll make your work miles ahead of what it actually would be on your kit lens. Yep. Like for sure.
Never, they include it because it's bad.
They're like, oh, they'll update. They'll upgrade.
Probably.
I totally agree with that. I think one thing that's unique about Sony that I actually really appreciate for, because Maegan shoots Canon. I started on Canon. I now shoot Sony. But one thing I really appreciate about their beginner cameras is they're also cost effective. I think Canon's might be a little bit cheaper, but Sony's beginner cameras are mirrorless. So it starts you a little bit ahead of the game, and they can still be crop censored if I remember right. Don't quote me on that, but they're already mirrorless. And so you're just kind of like just one step ahead of maybe where the Rebels are. But either one is going to be great to begin on, Yeah. And you can get a Nifty 50 for Sony too.
Yeah. Another idea, Canon one is the Canon R. It's a little more expensive. It's like, I want to say it's around $1,000, but it's mirrorless, but it's cheaper than like going all in on a really nice camera. But mirrorless is where it's at.
Okay, let me ask you this question. So when we met, like the rage of cameras was the Canon 5D Mark IV. Would you still suggest that to any beginners starting?
I would say yes, because I have mine. I still have one, and I just use it as a backup just in case. But I would say that, yeah, because it's a DSLR, so it's going to be a good starter. I don't know if I would use it as, I mean, I don't use it as my main one, but I still think it's like a beast.
Yeah. I actually have mine too as a backup. I'm like, just in case, let me keep this for a little bit, you know?
In good condition, then it's still a really good camera.
Yeah, I think so too. Do you think, and this is if it's too technical and you're like, I don't know, but do you think you would suggest that over the R because the R is mirrorless?
I don't know. I'd have to look at like all the specs on the R, but
I was just thinking about it today. Like it was literally just a thought that crossed my mind. I was like, that used to be like everyone's baby, like the 5D, you know?
No, I know. I would also like, do you know what a Mark IV goes for right now?
I think it's more than 1,000. I want to say it's maybe around 1,500, something like that. Because I mean, when I thought about it earlier, I looked it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look at the specs because I've never really used an R, but I just know that it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Okay, so good place to start would be a Sony A6400 or a Sony A7 or a Canon Rebel, really any of the Rebels, but probably around a 7-ish. Do they have an 8 and a 9 out? I don't know.
I know they have like an SL1 and other stuff.
Just look up Canon Rebel. It's like something in that realm. And then maybe a Canon EOS R if you can afford it because it's mirrorless and that's helpful. Okay. This one I am so excited for you to talk about. I mentioned it in the beginning, but somebody asked, is it true that you have to stick to one niche to grow your photo business? Maegan, please tell us.
No, it's not true. I remember being told this too, but I think it just comes down to what you want to do and like what you actually enjoy doing. Kind of in the beginning of your photography journey, you don't really have an option to niche down because you kind of just have to say yes to whatever comes your way, whether that's families or seniors or random stuff, just to get that experience. But then the more you like build your business, you can niche down. There's there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it just depends on what you do, like what you want to do. I do seniors, I do couples, I do weddings, I do concerts, and I sometimes do
some families.
Families, if on a case by case basis. I don't love doing it, but I will. But yeah, I haven't had an issue with it. I think if I chose one of those, then I am full-time right now, but I could like fill my schedule with only that thing. Yeah. And if that's what I wanted to do, that'd be awesome. And I would like, let's say I only did brands. I don't know. Like I could be solely a brand photographer and that's all I did. And that's awesome. Yeah. But I don't know. I just don't believe that there's anything wrong with doing more than one thing. I know a lot of people have multiple pages, like have a wedding page and then a senior page. I have everything on one page just because I personally cannot keep up with another one. But yeah, I do remember being told to niche down and pick one thing, and I was like, I have no idea what I would pick. Like, I'd be so sad if I wasn't doing couples.
Yeah.
But I don't know, some people are more
successful. I also think like yeah, I think it depends on your area too, you know, and it depends on exactly what you said. Like, it depends on what you like in general. And like, I think something that's unique too for me is like, I do seniors and then I mainly do seniors and then I do some brands too. And really though, I will take anything if it sounds fun to me. So like people DM me all the time and they're like, are you doing this? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Because like it sounds fun. If it doesn't sound fun, I'm not going to do it, like, because that's like the whole point of me being a photographer is that it's creative and fun. So if it sounds fun, I'm in. But I think that something that's cool about the whole seniors and brands thing is that when senior work is high for me, brand work typically is pretty low. And when senior work is low, brand work is high. So it's kind of cool because it tends to like have a seasonal well-roundedness for my business financially that is like helpful for me. So thinking about it that way too could be helpful of like in your area, could you offer branding headshots in the winter or in, whatever spring when it's not yet season for couples or something like that, like thinking about making your business well-rounded can be helpful when thinking about niches too. But yeah, I think it's a myth.
I think it's just a case by case basis. It's like, what do you want to do? I think I'm very thankful that I'm at a point where I can pick and choose what I take on. And if one day I wanted to take on, let's say, more weddings than I do seniors, then I could do that. And I don't think it would affect my bookings. I mean, it would affect who I'm booking, but like I don't know that it would affect the amount of bookings I get. But like I said, when I started, though, I was taking on anything.
Yeah.
Anything that came my way.
And I think it depends. Like, I think that if you are part-time, you almost have the option of not like taking on anything that comes your way if you don't feel like you enjoy it. So like, I remember when I was part-time, at first I was taking everything because I was like, oh, I'm just, doing photography or whatever. Like, I don't know. I just say yes to things. And then I realized I wasn't like the biggest fan of family photos. And so then I was like, well, let me just not say yes to them because especially if I'm part-time, like I don't have to financially do these things. Like I can just do it for fun. And if this isn't fun to me, then I'm not doing it, And so then actually like that is kind of the season where I really landed on seniors and that I like more creative portraits, like editorial stuff just for fun, and then that landed me into brands through that lane. But yeah. Okay. I love that. Let's move on. Okay. This is more stuff on like organization side of things, but this one, okay. Actually, I'm so curious to hear from you on this one because before we started recording, you showed me the very long list of all of the editing that you need to do. So how do you stay organized in busy months?
I feel like my initial answer was to just like be organized.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, keep everything in your calendar, write everything, like, just make sure everything is, like, set up well before you get busy so that when you're super busy, you're not drowning, like, where did this email go? Well, I forgot I had to edit this. Like, I have a whiteboard right here, and it has my calendar, which has all the shoots I'm doing, everything that I'm doing work-wise, and then also, like, personally. And then I also have written down in my editing queue what I need to edit. And then I'll just, like, erase it when they're done, which is so satisfying. And then I also just, like, wrote down my to-do list for the day. And then
I feel like something that's different about us is, like, I don't like having it written because then I feel like I have to be, like, in one spot at, like, to edit or something, like in order to remember to erase it. Like I couldn't do it at a coffee shop or something,
I also have, before I got my Mac, I had like a sticky note, an actual sticky note on my laptop also have it all written down. And then now that I have a Mac, you can like, there's the Stickies app.
Oh my gosh, no. What is this? Stickies app?
It's just like a virtual sticky note on your Mac, like on your screen.
Oh, that's fun.
I have all of my editing queue and like what to do on there and like a bunch of other random notes and stuff.
That's funny. I keep it like, I don't necessarily do like a written list like you do, but on my hard drive, I have it color coded. So like I have it coded from when I just have it backed up, and then I have it coded from when I've culled it, and then another color for when I've actually like delivered it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So it's, you have to find what works for you.
That's what I was going to say. It's just like figuring out a system for it. But I feel like that's like the biggest thing as far as like staying organized during the busy months. Like the biggest thing for my brain is like, how am I staying organized with my editing? Because everything else I feel like is normal. It's like you have your unread emails, and that's helpful to like, see what you need to email back to people or whatever because they're unread and in your inbox. But I feel like the biggest thing is like, oh, my editing queue. How am I making time for that and stuff? So the next question goes into that. It says, how do you manage the schedule of editing, emails, posting, and shoots? That's a big question.
Yes. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts. Honeybook is good for this because it kind of has a lot of that in one area, not editing, but like all the other stuff. But like time wise, because I am so busy right now, it's kind of just what do I need to prioritize right now? And so like today I really need to edit. So today that's what I'm doing. I'm editing. And tomorrow maybe I will need to respond to all my emails at once, So maybe I could organize it better, but it's just like my priority for the day right now. I don't know if I would respond well to like, okay, 10 to noon, I'm editing, and then I'm answering emails, and then, because then I'm like, when I'm answering emails, I'm like, I really need to edit right now.
Yeah.
Like, I should be doing that. So I don't know if that's a helpful answer at all, but it's kind of just what I need to do for the day, which is why I like my to-do list so much, because every day I'll write it down and I'm like, this is what I need to get done today.
Something that I think this is less in like slow season for me. I kind of go lax on this, but in busy season, something that's really helpful is I only offer shoots on certain days. And I know that's not possible for everybody. And I know it depends on like obviously what you're shooting and stuff. But for me, I do like Wednesdays, Thursdays, and if it's a brand, I'll do like throughout the week during the day. But for evenings, I'm talking about Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then once a month, I offer a Saturday session. And having those days have been really helpful to have them just like set of those are my shooting days. And because I know that those are my shooting days, I know when I can add editing to my schedule, and it's going to be in the beginning of the week because I shoot heavily in the end of the week. And then it's also helpful for like just planning my life, even like socially with friends or with people from the church or whatever it is, like having that has been really helpful. And then I also block off pretty much all of Mondays to do like catch up, because other than that time on a Saturday where like once a month I shoot, other than that, I try to take the whole weekend off. And so if it's Monday, I want to like respect that my clients emailed me on Saturday at 8 a.m. and I haven't gotten back to them or whatever it is, And so I like make that like emails and catch up and looking forward to the rest of the week. And that's been really, really helpful for me. Just like having that brain space of like, what am I doing for the rest of the week? Let me make sure I've tied the ends of last week and move forward from it. But that's kind of like, it totally depends on like how you function. Like Maegan was saying, like what works best for you. But for me, that's been like super helpful. It's just like having designated days for certain things.
Yeah. I don't know if this question is asking more like schedule wise, how are we balancing these things, or just like, how are we fitting it all into a week? But like I said, like just figuring out what works for you. And yeah, you could do it like by day. This is what I'm doing this day. You could schedule it out by hour. This is what I need to do by this hour. But also I have found personally for me, waking up earlier helps me get into like my schedule better, because if I wake up later, like around like 8 or 9, I'm like, okay, I need to get up, I need to get ready, I need to, I found that there's certain things I need to do before I can jump into my workday. So like I'll wake up at 6, I'll go to the gym. That's my time for me. Not really thinking about work. Sometimes I'm on the treadmill, like answering emails. But then after that, I come home, get ready. And then the rest of the day is for work.
Yeah.
So like having that time for me helps, just be less stressed throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then also similarly to you, I only shoot 5 days a week. It's not like certain days a week, but I make sure that I at least have 2 days off. One of those is always Sunday. I always have Sundays
Mm-hmm.
off, just for myself, and like I go to church, and I'm not really
Yeah.
working that day. And then also I pick one other day throughout the week to not be shooting, to make sure that I can get all that admin stuff done. And that is something I started doing this year. Last year, not doing that kind of bit me in the butt. So that is really important to mark off
Yeah.
days
And
off.
if you financially feel like you cannot do that because you need to shoot, maybe it's time to look at upping your prices a little bit and maybe see if like if you up your prices, can it balance out financially for you? Because if you're booking that much too, I mean, that's amazing, like maybe think about, okay, maybe it's time to trial this for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, bring your prices back down. Like everything's fine,
And I
but
know
it
it
might be
is.
helpful.
Yeah, that's true. And I know it is really hard when maybe you're not full time and you have another job. You have maybe your mom, like you just have a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, this is my main thing, which I'm thankful for right now in this season of life. But it's totally okay if you're trying to balance all these things and like you don't even have time to go full time right now. Like it's not even an
Yeah.
option because there are only so many hours in the day, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just how you use them and what you're prioritizing.
I was also talking the other day to one of mine and Megan's friends, actually. I was talking to Brandy, but we were just talking about like, I don't know how sometimes I feel like in our industry, we talk about full time as if it's the goal for everyone. And sometimes it's not the goal for everyone. Sometimes people just love creative stuff. They love the hobby of photography. And sometimes it's like, yeah, this is exactly what we want to do full time. This is exactly what I'm like made to do. Like for Megan and I, that's like how we feel. But for others, you might be listening to this like, I just like don't have that goal. I just really want to hear you guys yap about it because I want to get better at photography and I want to grow in it, but it's never my goal. And that's okay too. Like, don't feel like just because we went full time that you have to
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Really think about what you want to do, where you want your photography to go, and like visualize where you want to be in a couple years or something. Because if it's not full time, don't work yourself like you're trying to get full time, because
Yes.
it's not going to work. Like, what are you actually working towards? And if you don't want to be full time, that's great.
Yeah.
It's fine. There was a year where I like wanted to be full time, but I also loved my job so much that I just like stuck with it for a little bit. I was like, I don't even need to do it right now if I don't want to, because
Yeah.
I don't have to. But
Yeah.
it just depends on what you want right now.
Yeah,
It's
I
not.
really love that you said that, Megan, too, because it just like frees people up of like, if you are working like you're going full time, but that's not your goal, chill out because you're going to burn yourself out and then you're not going to enjoy this beautiful hobby that you have too. Like you want to like, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like only do things that are fun for you. If this is part time, just do the fun stuff. You don't have to work yourself really hard on the stuff you hate. Like you just don't need to do that. Yes. Don't ruin it for yourself. I love that. Okay. I'm going to move us on. Let's do this one. Favorite posing tips or go-to poses. And I laughed when I saw this one because Megan explain why I'm laughing. You tell them.
Okay, the other day I was at a senior shoot, and I guess there's this one pose, this one pose that I always have my seniors do because I asked her to do it, and she was like, "Oh, the Maegan Grendell pose," and I said, "The what?" And she's like, "Yeah, like, I was talking to one of your other seniors that I go to school with, and like sometimes we just hit the pose at school," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wait, people actually recognize like my
That is
poses and
so
like that I
funny.
do them." And then I was like, wait, do I need to think of new poses? But then I was like,
No, I think it's so fun because it like adds to like your signature style. The fact that they're at school talking about that, like
they just
that's when you know you've made it as a photographer,
like most of my seniors, I don't know how it happened, but most of them go to this one school.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense with seniors because like one friend has another friend who has another friend who has another friend because I get that too. But anyway, okay, this is a side note. I just have to complain about this really quick. But I scheduled this party for my seniors, okay? I scheduled this party and I sent it out and I'm like, woohoo, this is going to be so fun. I made it this like big thing. My top school has prom that night and I didn't check the schedule. I know. So totally my fault. Right. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to move it because it's like that important to me. Like this is like my top school here in Charleston. And so then I move it and I'm so dumb and don't check the schedule again. It's their graduation.
This is the most important parts of the year.
You know, so I'm not rescheduling it this time. Who can be there, but like that stinks.
Yeah. Well, I guess check your school calendar from now on.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening to this, you're a senior photographer, check your school calendars before you plan things. Okay. Anyway, so do you want to talk about your go-to pose then? Like tell everybody how you would direct somebody to be in it. Wait, I'll be your senior.
Okay.
Okay. Direct me.
Go-to pose. This is how I start off most sessions is like I ease them into it. I'm not going to be like, okay, do a cartwheel. Usually I'll just like start by having them do something with their hands. Because, okay, also, like, I don't know what it is, but lately everyone's been like, you're going to have to tell me how to pose. Like, I'm really awkward. I'm like,
me too. I've gotten that so much more than like usual.
I'm like, okay, I will. It is my job, but also you're not awkward. You just haven't done it before. And then I tell them what to do, and they look like a model. Anyway,
every time.
So I just like start with like telling them what to do with their hands. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, put your hand on your arm, or like put your hands in your front pockets, or something like chill. And then I build off of that. Like if you were to look at all my photos beginning to end, it's like it gradually is like transforming each photo.
They're blossoming. Yeah.
Yes. And by
I think the exact same thing too, because like they're getting comfortable with you. Yeah. And like if you start them off with, like you were saying, like do a full cartwheel or something, they're going to be like, what? You know, but they can put their hand in their pocket. They can do that.
Yeah. I also just like want to get to know their personality too before I ask them to do anything more involved. And I want them to get to know me because like if I ask them to do that at the beginning, they're like, you're weird. Yeah. Like, and if I
typically them, like, it's different. But I typically start with like, I'll have them cross their legs and then put their hand in their pocket and look away. I like starting them by looking away because it gets them comfortable with the fact that my camera's in their face and stuff. And then I'll have them look at the camera and then they're like, okay, I'm comfortable a little bit. But the thing that I do typically is like, I like a lot of like, and so do you, but like a lot of movement in my photos for seniors. Sometimes though, seniors aren't as comfortable with those movement poses. So similar to what you were saying, like getting to know their personality is important. But I usually like after that, I'll have them do a walking one or like one with just a little bit of movement so I can see how comfortable they are with moving and then go from there. But like if they're super comfortable and they're just like modeling as they walk or whatever, then great, we can like really do movement poses. Yeah. But if not.
Yeah. Now I feel like we kind of do it the same. Like I start with like hands in pockets or like hands crossed, legs crossed. And then we do a little walk. Maybe we sit down and like have your hand in your hair or something.
Yeah.
And then by the end, they've like blossomed, if you will. And like now we're frolicking, now we're running, now we're laying in the grass. I don't know.
Yeah. There's one pose, I told you this the other day, but there's one pose that I stole from you and I do it in every session now. So thanks. It's like sit down, knees up, and then they like, I'm like trying to show you, but I don't know if you can even see it. But then they like pull the bottom of their like, or they pull the top of their shoes and then they like come up here on their knees and they like look away, you know, it's very moody. And then they hug their knees. All of that came from you.
It's like simple enough that they don't feel silly. But it looks so good, and it's not it's not like crisscross. Like I don't know. Yeah. I love it.
Something a little moody. Yeah, something a little moody. I actually had a guy senior the other day, and I did that pose for him, and it looked really cool. He was very model-esque. Yeah, actually, some of the pictures reminded me of you a little bit. We did like a record store, and then we did a field. Yeah. And then I actually shared this last week on the podcast. So if anyone's listening, they're like, okay, Alex, we get it. But then I ended in a jazz bar, Maegan.
Oh, I saw your video.
Yes. Like literally in a jazz bar. He was drumming. It was so cool. So you would have loved it.
Wait, okay, this
What?
kind of is related. It's not necessarily posing, but more of like making sure they're comfortable. Make sure you emphasize that they should be picking locations and environments that feel like them. Like,
Yeah.
I'll have people like, oh, can we do my senior pictures at the basketball court? Like, I play basketball and I'm going to college for basketball. And I'm like, duh, because that's
They
their
feel
spot.
comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, or like, can we do, I don't know, like, yeah, like a record store because I love music or something like that. Like, that just, if it feels more them, they're going to be a little less shy about it, you know?
Yeah. And it's less, sometimes seniors, I think specifically, they do it for their parents, right? Or even
Mm,
this goes into couples too. When it's like really definitive of the couples and it describes like their relationship together and it's not just the girl booking, like the guy will get more into it. Just like
yeah,
for seniors, you know, sometimes they do it just to please their parents. But if it's something that really represents their personality, then they're going to be into it too.
yeah.
So
And
that's
personally,
definitely a good tip.
yeah. If I were a parent too, like I would want my senior to like look like themselves and like feel like
Yeah.
themselves. And 1,000,000% your photos are going to turn out better if you feel like that. And so you just have to like make sure the whole shoot is focused around that.
Yeah, I had a senior shoot one time that was at the beach and she had booked like two outfits, but she only brought one. And so I was like, okay. And it was just her bathing suit. And she was surfing and she's a surfer. But
But
at first, it was when I first moved to Charleston. So I didn't fully understand like beach life and how sometimes that can be a little bit different. So I was like, I hope the mom's okay with this. Like, it was just, you know, kind of interesting. But at the end, I was taking pictures of her and then I was like, okay, you're super sandy. Go like wash off or whatever. So she was getting in the ocean and I turned to her mom. Her mom is in tears and it's just like, this shoe is so her. Like, I'm so glad that we're doing something that isn't traditional. And then I'm in tears and I'm like, okay, thanks.
that is
So it was
what
like so perfect.
we do. Yeah.
That is
Well,
what we do.
on the opposite side of that, like one time I had a senior show up in like a cute little dress and like she looked beautiful, but she
Mm-hmm.
just was like, she felt really stiff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And but they turned out cute. I just didn't have her do like a ton of movement or anything. And then she
Yeah.
went and changed into her other outfit. And while she was changing, her mom was like, "This next outfit is her. She never wears a dress." And I'm like, "Okay, she shouldn't like. She looked beautiful, but like
Yeah. But
maybe
don't
she
try
should."
to be somebody that you're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's fine. Wear whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
you can still look nice wearing what you would normally wear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
we're on a
Yeah, that's
tangent.
good. Because I think that like our client experience and how we prep our clients for the shoot goes into posing. The location and what location we pick goes into posing. Like
Mhm.
posing is kind of like the culmination of everything else around the shoot and
Yep.
how comfortable they are and how we like socially make them feel and everything. So I love that. Okay, we kind of need to wrap up because we are just chatting. So I'm going to skip a couple of these, but let's do this one because a few people asked this. But what is our favorite music right now? But
Okay.
that is so a you question because you know me. I'm like, I don't know. I'll say like my show that I'm listening to, and you say
Okay.
your music.
Okay.
So, okay, I have been listening or I've been watching Blue Bloods. Have you ever heard of that?
Is it a police show?
Yes. And it's the most random thing because Zach like randomly found it and it's like older. Like it's probably from when I was in high school. So maybe like the 2010s, I guess. I don't know. But now Zach and I are obsessed. So we're only on season one, but we binge it like every night. Okay. What are you listening to?
Wait, can I say a show too?
Yeah.
Okay. Recently, I was just home this last week with my parents, and we started watching Silo, which is on Apple TV, and it
Okay.
was great. It's like a
I really like
dystopian.
Apple TV things.
I know. Well, also, yeah, Apple TV just has a lot of good stuff. But yeah, that's a good show. Music wise, though, I would say like if I were to open my I can't tell you what app I use, but if I were to open it, it would have like Taylor Swift, Gracie Abrams, Lennon Stella, Tay McRae, um, Noah Khan. I feel like that's like basic, but guys, it's good.
Basic but
Well,
good. It's what you
what,
listen to, you
there's,
know?
there's full of random other stuff like Billy Joel and Colby Clay and like country stuff. If I,
all over the map, honestly. Yes. Okay, Maegan, as we wrap up, tell me one thing that you're just like excited about creatively right now.
Creatively, I have a lot of. I'm like looking at my calendar right now. I have a lot of like different types of shoots coming up, which is fun to mix it up a little bit. But then also I have a little secret.
A secret? I already know it.
You already know it. But okay, so me and my friend, her name is Bailey Mary Photo. You have to follow her. She's very talented. She's in Utah as well. She's also my wedding photographer. But we have started when does this episode come out?
This week.
Okay. Yeah. So this Sunday, April 27th, we are launching a online photography community. It's an educational community, subscription based. So you pay like a monthly subscription, and then you have access to a bunch of groups that we have set up, guest speakers, a bunch of location suggestions, and like just a bunch of education for all these photographers. So cool. And you can chat with all these other photographers, like a big group chat, and meet all these people. It's on a platform called Circle. It's called the Photo Club. I'm very excited. I haven't told anyone about it. Haven't even posted on Instagram about it yet because, well, this episode comes out before. But yeah, I'm very excited about that, and just to like meet people. From like my last workshop I did, similar to like photo camp, I feel like I just like my love of teaching other people and meeting other people and like helping them grow in their business has grown so much that I want to be able to do that a little bit more. So this online community is a little way to do that, and I'm so excited because everyone who we sent a few like exclusive invites out, and everyone who's joined is like so cute and fun, and I'm just so excited to see where it goes. So if you're watching this, just follow us, or listening, follow us at thephoto.club for information. And yeah, so
I love it. So we have Photo Club and Photo Camp. Yeah. I love it. No, that's so exciting. And anyone listening to this knows how much like I am such a big supporter of anything that creates community in our industry. So yes. I love that like there's so many things that are coming out like this where photographers are just having a place to gather. And something that I said at Photo Camp when I spoke this last time in what month? March. I said that I feel like we're just like coworkers, like having like a bunch of photographers in a community is just like we're coworkers. And that's what Maegan's providing an experience for you guys to feel like you're connected and to feel like coworkers with each other. So we don't have to do this alone just because we're entrepreneurs, just because we might be like solo on our taxes doesn't mean that we're solo actually in life. So I love that. Just a reminder, Maegan is speaking at the next Photo Camp, September 4th through 6th this year, 2025. Make sure that you guys leave a review if you like this episode and this show, because it really helps me a ton. Maegan, you've left a review before. Thank you very much. I love it. Okay. Love you guys so, so much. I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye. Mwah. Let's make